Oh, hello there. This is the newspaper review segment of the AM show. Thanks to Mapito CBD for bringing us the AM news. Joseph Akable is with me in the studio. We'll do the review together. Hey, Joe.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. And
Nice.
Good morning to Professor John Japon of the University of Health and Allied Sciences. He's a good friend of the show. Good morning, Prof.
Why you say good morning to him? You're not the host of the show. You're my guest.
Yeah, I'm your guest, and I'm also extending greetings to...
Okay. Well, you have a test for him?
For Prof, you mean?
Yes.
No, I can't test Prof. That is unfair.
Good.
Prof was my Pro VC at Legon. I can't test Prof.
I just wanted wanted to see if you knew your level. But now that is clear.
I know my level very well. But I have a test for you nonetheless.
Oh, no.
And it's a simple... I was trying to figure out what type of fruit the last one was, but that's not...
Still an apple.
It's still an apple, just a different
Isn't
color.
it? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So, I mean, once you determine what letter each of the apples, especially the first one, the red one, represents, you should be able to determine what the differently colored one also represents. So it's a pretty straightforward thing, multiplication. So something times something times something should give you 8.
Yeah.
And that same thing times that same thing times something else should give you a 12. And so
you're testing me with this?
Yes, it's a straightforward mathematics test. I hope your kids are watching. If it doesn't, if depending on your answer, they'll have a better understanding of why sometimes the homework the teacher canes them, even though they are sure they wrote the correct answer.
You're joking, right?
I should send it to you, then later on you come with your answer.
You're playing.
No,
you're playing. You know the irony. You're playing with me on my own show with this. Like seriously.
So
like what kind of game is this?
So what's your?
Let's do the newspapers. We'll come back to that. Yeah.
Are you handing over your phone or are you?
Patrick Gomez, can you take it off? Joseph is my guest. He doesn't call the shots. Thank you. All right. The newspapers. I've got the Ghanaian Times newspaper, the Daily Guide, and the Business Finder. What are you reviewing?
I'll do the Daily Graphic and the Daily Dispatch, the Daily Statesman, the BNFT, and I'll also give the solution to the quiz as well.
I'm going to solve it.
I see.
I mean, I'm not giving up.
That's fine.
Yeah. I want to do serious business first.
That's fine.
Because that's like a piece of joke. So let's start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Here's what's on the front page. Operation Halt Not Selective, according to Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwu. Boem Kidmakers revoke decision to install new Oman Hene. 339 suspected criminals grabbed in Accra. Transport fares go up June 5 by some 13%. We'll get into the practicality of this in a bit. At the launch of MTN 25th anniversary, provide better services to public, President urges telcos. We've got to say big congratulations to MTN. What's the, Joseph Akable, the first service, the GSM service provider in Ghana? What was the name?
I remember Ariba. There was Space Phone. There was Ariba.
Which one came first?
I'm not too sure.
Space Phone.
Space Phone.
And then it became Space Phone Ariba, and then it became Ariba, and then it became MTN. Yeah.
So they are 25 years now.
They are 25 years, and they're talking about the kind of investment that they've made in Ghana, about $6 billion or so. They're a great service provider. I have a relationship person, Pamela. She is so sweet. So yesterday she suddenly called me in the afternoon just to say hello. I was like, Pamela, sometimes you can be so lovely. And she said, have a good day. So apparently, I think it's the 25th anniversary. She didn't even mention that, but yeah.
It's the number of the papers, I guess, that celebration.
So congratulations to MTN everywhere you go. Also on page 3, the crime-related stories. There's one that made it to the front page, but there's also another one. Police place bounty on killers of Karaga DCE's driver. And then an Accra Circuit Court yesterday adjourned to July 9, the case in which a taxi driver allegedly robbed a beauty salon operator and her clients. It's like the one place that you never think that you will be robbed. And this one was like proper robbery. And this is the salon owner and her client too. They even took a vehicle took their phones.
They took a vehicle?
Yeah, vehicle belonging to one of the clients.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's a complainant weeps in courts. It's also another story which is captured by the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So this person got the wall of his house allegedly destroyed by land gas. He caused the arrest, but he's got fears that the investigators may not do a good job. So he was complaining to the reporter and, you know, talking about, because they've now been released on bail. Initially, the report said that the court did not agree that they could be bailed because the leader of that ring is on the run. And there were fears that if you let them go, then you won't find that ring leader. But later on, they were granted bail, and that's what the complainant is unhappy about. So let's do the back page of the paper. Hearts urge liberty, pros in FA Cup. Again is the big oak tree. Accra Hearts of Oak progressed to the round of 32 stage of the MTN FA Cup competition after beating Liberty Professionals 3-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium yesterday. I'm just telling you, as a matter of fact, that's the story.
That's the only story.
I'll just... but this one is the main one. No, and then there's Kotoko Only Progress. That story is like this. The Hearts one, you can see it on the back page of the paper. It's not, if you had not said it, I would not even have noticed. See? Which one's the main story?
Can I do the daily graphic now? No,
go ahead.
You still want to do the Hearts of Oak story?
Go ahead.
The front page of the daily graphic, judgment debt, NDK's 1.3 billion CD claim thrown out. It's a story by Emmanuel Ibu-Hodgson. And we are told that a legal action by the Attorney General has saved the state from paying more than 1.2 billion in judgment debts, which was being claimed by NDK Financial Services. The company went to court to compel the government to pay the amount it claimed was the outstanding balance and interest on a judgment debt. Instead, the Financial Services was awarded 14,699 cedis. Marvi, 1.2 billion was the request, 1.2 billion cedis. The court said that the company is actually just owed 14,699 cedis there.
So, you know, the Attorney General was disputing the figures presented by the company. So the court got PricewaterhouseCoopers to jointly do it with the Attorney General. And based on the outcome of that, it delivered its ruling. So we don't owe them as much as they claim we do, apparently.
1.2 billion.
Yeah.
Cedis. We actually owe them 14,600.
Well, plus interest.
Plus interest.
Yes.
Plus interest, which I'm told if it's computed according to the AG, he actually spoke about this on PM Express yesterday. He says it will not come to even 1 million cedis to even think of the 1.2 billion that was being claimed. So that is that story there. That's what we expect the AG's office to do, to step in for the state. And sometimes we should also be mindful. We are looking at it in terms of the amount of money, but the other hand is that there's still some judgment that has been incurred anyways. There are 14,000, which will not amount to 1 million cedis, we are told. And so we should be also checking the actions of various state agencies to ensure that we don't engage in acts that takes us there in the first place, because this money can do something for the state nonetheless.
Definitely. You know, there were some very powerful judges sitting on that case with the Chief Justice. Justice Badegbe is retired. He was on this case. Reason is, well, per the constitution we have, he has about some 6 months. There is a 6-month window within which he can clear all the cases he was handling.
So there is
the
Chief Justice Jones Doche.
Yes, Bafoboni,
Sule Badegbe,
Amegache.
Yeah. Sule Badegbe is a very interesting justice of the Supreme Court. You should hear him in court. He has a lot of jokes to crack in the course of proceedings.
I noticed a bit of that when he retired, and was it Kweku Asante that covered that? Yes, I felt a bit of that. I think a lot of people missed it because this was in the thick of the COVID-19, so there were a lot of things that were missing.
But some other stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic this morning. Manhandling City FM journalists. National security operatives acted wrongfully is coming from the National Media Commission. And just highlights of that particular story.
And this was a swift work done by the National Media Commission.
Yes, the NMC promised to do this within 2 weeks, and they've done that. They said this is the outcome of their probe into it. A statement signed by its executive secretary. The commission welcomed the actions taken so far by the ministry and expressed hope that they represented a renewed commitment to democratic approaches in the country. And so in terms of a review, the commission further called for the review of laws relating to security in the media, especially those on prohibited areas within the context of the 1992 Constitution. It also advanced the view that all journalistic enterprises must be carried out openly, following thoroughly due process. However, there could be moments when overriding national interest may necessitate the use of undercover methods. As such moments, journalists require greater care and circumspection to ensure their safety. And so, I mean, essentially they are saying that national security were wrong, but the point that many people made when this particular matter came up is what will be the end game, really. And I guess that's why I'm sure anyone who's listening to me read the story is looking out for the end game. Look, I've read through. There's nothing in terms of sanctions. They don't have the teeth to do that, and that's how come some people had kicked against the matter going to the NMC. They would have preferred it goes to maybe Shraj or some other agency, but that is the state of affairs. I
listened to a lawyer for City FM yesterday who said, first of all, applauding the NMC for a good job done and for the time within which they've done the time frame, really. But he couldn't immediately also share their next step because he said he had to go back to the clients, i.e. City FM, and then he will pick it up from there. So we'll see where this takes us. But for now, NMC has concluded its work on this. The question, and so what is the one that we're trying to figure out now?
There's this other story on the back page of the Daily Graphic about 7 trapped in flooded mining pit. This morning, Albert Soria, our correspondent, brought us an update. He says the police in the Upper East region have confirmed 9 of the miners trapped in a pit at the Gbani mining site have been recovered and pronounced dead. And so 9 persons dead. They were trapped after the pit they were working on 3 nights ago was engulfed by water following a heavy downpour. And so the rescue team spent nearly 48 hours, and these were the bodies that they were able to retrieve, 9, and they are still working to see whether there are more people within that particular pit. And so not good news there coming from Upper East region. That is it for the Daily Graphic.
Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper on the front page. The NDK claim, that story is also here. But government is victim of COVID-19 success comes with a picture of Charles Edubuahin, who was vetted yesterday. Did you listen to him?
I listened to bits of it, especially the controversy surrounding his brokerage company and what role they had played. And so I listened to him.
There was also one of those light moments where was it Muhammad Yariga who was asking him in what capacity? So he's Minister of State, right? And so he said, what would be his role exactly? And then he said he will be assisting the minister. So Muhammad Yariga said, so you will be assistant minister? And that got people on the committee laughing a bit because, like, you know, we don't have assistant minister, do we? We have deputy ministers.
I mean, it's the idea of a minister of state. Okay, so
it's just his own definition. This one it's not like you don't know, but you're asking, and that's what he's told you. So you're playing on his own words. Yeah, but and then finally he says, well, after vetting, he's going to go back and get a clear mandate. So he didn't have a clear mandate as to what he will be doing as a minister of state.
I mean, you remember the Ayawaso West Wogon Commission, they had reason to make comments about this minister of state situation that pertained to the National Security Ministry, because there was a deputy, there was a National Security Minister, and there was a minister of state in charge of national security. And questions were raised about, okay, so who is the boss, who takes what instructions, and who does what? I mean, there are those who have made a point that, look, ideally, except the Attorney General, the Constitution simply says the President will appoint ministers of state. And so all the ministers actually finance whatever. They are all ministers of state, actually. An instrument has been done to just spell out that you are finance minister. Some make the case, and Isaac Adongo of the Finance Committee, he claims that he feels that, okay, due to the fact that Ken Ofori-Atta may not necessarily be always around, you need someone who will be at his level, who can take decisions that require an approval of a minister of state. That's his suggestion, Isaac Adongo. I don't know how true that claim is. But you recall, even during the Japa transaction, and the review that was done by Martin Amidu, he had raised issues about some of the approval that had been signed by Charles Edubwai as Deputy Finance Minister. And Mr. Amidu had argued that he didn't have the authorization to have signed that, and it should have rather been the Chief Director if the Minister of Finance could not have signed those agreements. I remember very clearly that government and the AG, for that matter, disagreed with Mr. Amidu's position and actually argued that the minister had authorized him to do those particular things. But I mean, it comes back to the question again. So what was his role? He said he's what, assisting?
We are assisting the minister,
okay,
but.
So he's the Assistant Minister of Finance.
So that was the controversy.
Yes.
And then Mama said, because I don't know what to ask you, I want to put it in proper context. And then the chairman said, if you don't know what to ask him, then let's move on. I said, no, I have something to ask. Well, so that's where we are with this matter. I think vetting continues today. This story...
Was Obiamo vetted yesterday?
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing, as always. I mean, I'll be surprised if he doesn't get a pass, or I mean, if there's any hold up or anything like that. We're talking about the Member of Parliament for Ikep himself, and I hope that you did monitor that vetting. There's a little bit of, you know, he's not the substantive minister, okay, but he's very knowledgeable, and he made it very clear. And I found it also interesting that at least the bits that I monitored, Elizabeth Foswejare, who is a Member of Parliament, NDC Member of Parliament, actually decided not to ask any question, you know, and that's rare. Usually you find from your side, not the opposite side. Yeah.
I think he's an experienced MP for that matter. He's been around for a while, and he's actually a member of the Appointments Committee as well.
Yes, he is. He's a member of the Appointment Committee.
But you know, generally they tend to be very kind to their colleagues, you know that.
Oh, but then if you also meet somebody who is very knowledgeable in the area of decentralization.
In this particular instance, the person cuts it and also happens to enjoy the support of his colleagues.
So you can't help. There was a sharp contrast, by the way. You know, there are two of them occupying the deputy. Exactly. Yeah. And it was such a sharp contrast for me. And he got a reminder from the chairman that he had to address the issues beyond constituency level, because a deputy ministerial position is a national one. Yeah. So he needed to. And I thought, the difference is so clear. But hey, you say I'm biased, but okay. So I think that's it for the Daily Guide newspaper. Go ahead.
I got the Daily Dispatch now. On the front page, Greater Accra Minister vindicated. Abosokai's spare parts dealers declare we requested to be relocated.
That's the controversy, isn't it? Yeah. Because when you go on the ground and you talk to the people, they say it's their leaders who reached an agreement with the Greater Accra Regional Minister. It is not them, after all.
I'm not even too sure that we should call it a vindication in that sense, because there's no contradiction really. The minister said on Adom FM that he had met the leaders and the leaders had suggested to him that they should relocate them. And government has said, okay, I'm going to do that. I'll find a place here and take you there. We went to speak to the Abosokai spare parts dealers who said, it's our leaders who have gone to enter into an agreement. That's not how we feel about it. Look, we have agreements here, some of us 10 plus years, that we are supposed to use this place. And so I don't think there's any vindication in this instance. But the point really is the disagreement between the leaders and the spare parts dealers, and that is what needs to be resolved. But
there's some development on that one, because there are media reports this morning that there's heavy military presence at Abosokai. Now, we're not sure if this is linked to this relocation operation yet. We'll verify that and give you more credible updates.
There's some more stories on the front page of the Daily Dispatch. Focus on Joe Gate is on page 11. I'm not too sure what's happening with him, but we have been told there is a focus on Joe Gate here. Okay, but some more stories. Money-making rituals. Police discover head and body of 12-year-old 3 arrested. Also on the front page. The back page of the Daily Dispatch now. No military officer has seized any gold from illegal miners.
But he answered you.
Yeah, you were the one.
Curious minds, me.
You were the one who asked me about it, so
I asked you.
Passed on the question.
Me, I asked you.
I was asked. He has refuted assertion that the military deployed confiscated gold from the Galamsey sites, and so I've been hearing people forcing the armed forces to accept that they have seized things that they have not seized. The armed forces have not seized any gold. If they have seized any gold, they will declare it. It is not possible for 420 officers and men to hide anything they have seized. It is simply not possible. And so the question really had been that when they go to the mining site, they say they've burnt champagne, they've burnt excavators, they've seized gallons what and people were asking that mining sites there, like they couldn't find gold at all.
You know, and
so this is the answer that he provided.
No, but if you want to be practical, listen, they announce where they're going. You think that the people will leave gold sitting there?
So the people have packed it.
I mean, even ask those who visit the gold sites, the mining sites, if they easily see gold. Ankuma, would you easily see gold at the site? No.
You have to go deep.
Who they're giving you notice? 2 weeks, we are coming. You think they will leave gold there? I mean, it's not practical. I trust the Ghana Armed Forces.
Ankuma, by the way, is a camera technician. Our viewers should be wondering.
Yeah. He's a special operator. He's very knowledgeable in other areas, i.e. mining.
The front page of the Daily Statesman now says, so government determined to protect coastal communities and digitization will benefit all, President Akufo-Addo assures, and prosecution of Galamsey suspects begins. NDK judgment debt, AG saves over 1.27 billion cedi for the state. The last one for me will be that of the BNFT. EU warns Ghana against illegal fishing as economy loses more than $50 million yearly. And rising crude prices, cedi performance could see motorists pay more fuel. Yes, we are starting to pay more fuel. In fact, we've been paying more fuel for more fuel already. In terms of those who use public transport, is taking effect on Saturday. And government to reduce spectrum and licensing fees to push down data cost. And the back page has some other stories that you can find if you grab a copy of the BNFT newspaper. That is it for the pictures.
I think if you are boarding a trotro from Insawam to Circle, you'll now be paying 6 cedis 80 pesos instead of 6 cedis, and that will take effect from the weekend. So don't be surprised if Monday the fares go up, because that's what's supposed to happen.
The bus conductors, I mean, they should find the 20 pesos fee. I really hate that drama. 680, so always maybe 20 pesos. Meaning if you don't have 20 pesos, I don't have 80 pesos.
And you also found 600
so we just keep.
So when you get there, you just give them 680.
Well, that's fair. But either you take 6 cedis or you find my 20 pesos for me.
You know, usually that would be...
you know, they will tell you that the like omu dear more, like, you understand. Because it's one city and they have 80, you have 20, so it's better.
I've seen people practically fight over 20 pesos.
I've seen 10
change.
pesos before.
Hey, Charlie. All right. Okay. Let's do the Business Finder. Front page of the Business Finder, government leveraging technology to accelerate economic growth, according to President Akufo-Addo. And then Ecobank has launched special car loan scheme. GCB reduces interest on personal loans amidst other incentives. We want the industry to be very competitive, okay? We want to get to the point where, Charlie, if your bank is not doing what the others are doing, you move, that kind of thing. We need a very competitive banking sector. So that's, if you want to change your vehicle and top up, you know, like, you can easily do it. This is, Charlie, hard. But if you're interested in the market, summary, consumer price inflation, interest rates, Ghana Stock Exchange, currencies. Oh, the US dollar is now 5.8. Pound is 8.2. Euro is 7.8. The yuan is less than 1 cedi. Okay. Gold is $1,905 an ounce. And cocoa is $2,431 per ton. There's plenty more in the Business Finder that you can explore. Any stories you want to highlight? Have you done the Business and Financial Times?
Yes.
Okay. Any story you want to talk about before we do myjawline.com?
No, I'm good with
okay. All right. Let's put your question there now. Now that, no, we're not done with the serious business. So let's do myjawline.com and then we'll come and play. All right. myjoyonline.com. Achimota School withdraws application for stay of execution. So essentially, this would have been, if granted, it's not like automatic. If it had been granted, then it would have meant that whilst they pursue the appeal, the 2 students would still not be able to enter Achimota School. But as we now are aware of, because of the Attorney General's intervention, they've withdrawn this, which means the boys can go back to school today. We're told, like ASAP, they can go return to school today, but they're still pursuing. They filed, right?
I don't know whether they filed the appeal itself yet, but what they confirmed they have filed is the stay, which they've instructed the lawyers to go ahead and withdraw, because I mean, I was really wondering why they would have wanted to file the stay, but...
Yeah, I realized one thing though. The Board of Governors, the statement that said they were going to appeal the decision was signed by Professor Ite. But this other statement, the very last statement from the same board that was talking about they're going to comply with the directive given, had a different signatory.
Interesting.
Just saying, just my observation. That's the chairman. I think the person who signed now is the chairman of the board. I'm not sure the name, but it was a different person from Professor Ite who was signed the earlier one.
I think the AG's intervention was very, very timely. I mean, and he explained the legal position that he holds, and he told us even before Achimota came out with the second statement that the school cannot disagree with his directive because he's the principal legal advisor. The GES manages the schools, and he advises the GES legally and tells them what they should also do as well. And so once the school falls within the GES, and I have seen some like Ace and Koma make the point that GES has so much authority that he simply does not understand why this should be a matter that should even be litigated upon in the first place. The GES directive, they have the mandate to decide what happens in the schools, and once they make that decision, it should be complied with by the various schools to avoid the litigation. But the AG thinks that, okay, allowing higher court to pronounce on it will give some further clarity on it. But I have read the full opinion by Justice Gifty AJ. I read the decision yesterday. Very brilliant. I mean, effectively saying that the main argument Achimota makes is allowing the students will affect discipline in the school. They raise issues of hygiene. And her argument is that they fail to provide evidence to show how discipline and hygiene will be affected when one person is wearing his dreadlocks or when another person is wearing a dreadlock simply because that is their religion. They don't dispute their religion, she says. They don't dispute that they are Rastafarians. They don't dispute, Achimota does not dispute that to manifest their religion, they keep their dreadlocks. They
actually say that doesn't matter. It's, what do they say, inconsequential.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to the substance because they are only enforcing a regulation. And I think for the first time, reading it, I also appreciated their school rule which said all boys must keep their hair short. So it doesn't even talk about dreadlocks. It just simply says all boys must keep their hair short. And it doesn't make exceptions because this is like an exception to the rule. Yeah. But I think it was a thorough delivery of, she's a fantastic woman. Yesterday, you mentioned her, we talked about, you mentioned some other cases that she did.
Susu case.
Yeah.
Well. So, I mean, I would love to, for it to go all the way to the Supreme Court. I doubt it will be set aside. Maybe some modifications here and there, but reading through it, because the crux of the matter really is what evidence was used to show that in discipline will be affected. And that is what a lot of people had been arguing, that it's an age-long practice, short hair. Why must the hair be short? The question is what needs an answer. And I mean, I guess you have answers for us. You can just run us through it and let's clap for you. Yeah, you have answers for us.
I have answers for what? Why the hair must be cut short?
Yeah. The quiz.
Oh, the quiz. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, let's do the quiz. Blah, 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 blah. So you have to multiply this by this by this and get 8, right? So isn't that 2?
Yes, that is 2.
Okay.
2 to 4, 4 to 8, correct.
And then 2
to 4.
Shouldn't this be 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was easy.
I mean, that's why I said we should, like, this is, I don't need Professor Japo.
Tomorrow is Friday. I'll find something. In fact, I'll give you a question for Prof and yourself.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Member of Parliament for South Dai, Mr. Roxin Nelson, the former, sent me a video of a Kenyan who has been called to the Kenyan bar. He's a practicing lawyer now. Because I was asking him on the show yesterday if we have known Rastafarians being called to the bar.
Ghana here. I've seen, I don't know whether it's Rastafarian, but I've seen a lawyer in dreadlocks here in Ghana.
He mentioned that.
He mentioned that as well. Yeah, actually, I met him one time when I was exiting the court. Very well kept hair, and he had but he was wearing a wig at the top. The wig. He was wearing it on top of it. Yeah.
So this is the Kenyan one.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And this is a proper Rasta man. He's the only one practicing lawyer there now. And I guess, yeah. Your hair shouldn't be a hindrance, really. All right, okay, so that's it for the review segment here of our show. Go to myjoyonline.com and then, you know, you can explore a lot more. There's an update on the mining issue that you mentioned. If you go to myjoyonline.com, you would see that police in the Upper East region, they've confirmed that the bodies of 9 miners trapped in the pits at Gbani mining sites have been recovered. The miners were trapped after the pits they were working in 3 nights ago was inundated with water from a heavy downpour in the Talensi districts. And so the backstory of that, how the rescue team spent nearly 48 hours pumping water out of the underground mining tunnels and eventually rescuing, retrieving really 9 bodies from the pits. So we'll leave you to explore myjoyonline.com. That's it for the review. Thank you for your company. Thank you, Joseph Akablay. We've got one more day to spend together, which is tomorrow. Stay with us. Oh, introduce Muftal. Now do it properly because his mother is watching. Nabila is in the middle. Go.
Muftal Abdul Nabila.
No, I just said Nabila is in the middle.
Muftal Nabila joins us for
Abdullahi. Ebeyo.
Muftal Nabila Abdullahi joins us for sports. That's how I've been bullied this morning.